Hey everyone, it's Andrew here. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about Social Security changes, the next two stimulus packages, and daily news updates as well. President Biden has confirmed that he wants to approve more stimulus payments in his next two stimulus packages, specifically via tax credits. Now, Bernie Sanders and other Democrats are also fighting to increase Social Security payments, and at the same time, Mitch McConnell says that he is 100% focused on stopping the Biden administration from approving more stimulus. Sounds pretty familiar, right? Throughout this entire pandemic, Mitch McConnell has basically been trying to stop stimulus from happening. Of course, the only stimulus check he seemed to be on board with was that first $1,200 stimulus check, but the next two he pretty much fought tooth and nail. In the end, Mitch McConnell had no choice but to let them approve it because Democrats used budget reconciliation. Well, now Mitch McConnell said that once again he wants to try and stop Democrats from approving more stimulus. Let's take a look and see what Mitch McConnell had to say.
He's not trying to do anything remotely close to moderate. Think of it as the Biden bait and switch. He ran as a moderate, but everything he's recommended so far has been hard left. Bernie Sanders is really happy. He may have lost the nomination, but he won the argument over what today's Democratic Party is. More taxes, more spending, more borrowing.
Mitch McConnell calling out President Biden, saying that he ran for president as a moderate, but everything he's trying to push is really, really progressive, essentially saying Bernie Sanders won the election even though he technically lost. Now, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, Mitch McConnell's mad because President Biden wants to increase taxes, but he mainly wants to increase taxes on the rich, right? And spend that money on people who are lower income. Now, despite Mitch McConnell, President Biden plans to move forward with his next two stimulus packages, his monthly stimulus payments for families, and Democrats will continue to push for bigger Social Security benefits as well. And Biden had a strong response for Mitch McConnell. Let's take a look and see what President Biden had to say, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Focused on stopping this administration. You've spoken about your relationship with him in the past. Do you still think you can work with him when he says things like that?
Look, he said that in our last administration, Barack, he was going to stop everything. And I was able to get a lot done with him. Look, everything I'm proposing that be done to generate economic growth, employment, and put us in a position where we can outcompete any other country in the world with research and development and moving ahead, I pay for. We talk about how this is going to cost so much money. I'm not paying for it. The bottom line is this. My Republican friends had no problem voting to pass a tax proposal that expires in 2025 that cost $2 trillion. None of it paid for. Increased the deficit by $2 trillion.
This is a common argument that Republicans have against Democrats. They say Democrats want to increase spending, therefore increasing the deficits and putting the country in even more debt. Now, what Biden says is that, whoa, Mitch McConnell, you, along with Donald Trump in 2017, approved tax cuts mostly for the rich. I know the middle class had some tax cuts in that plan, but 90% of the tax cuts went to the rich. Now, those tax cuts also indirectly add to the deficit because now the American government has less tax money coming in, which is essentially the same thing as spending because now we're getting less taxes from the rich. And this basically comes down to the argument of trickle-down economics versus trickle-up economics. Democrats want to give more tax cuts to the middle class and lower income and let that money trickle up through the economy by directly giving it to the middle class and the lower income people. Mitch McConnell wants to do the opposite, creating tax cuts for the rich and letting that money trickle down throughout the economy. And Biden argues that trickle-down economics has not worked. And the facts are that it really has not worked. It's worked for the rich. Quite frankly, it's worked really well for the rich. But the middle class and the lower income, it has not benefited them at all whatsoever. The middle class and the lower income have really not benefited from trickle-down economics. And that's exactly what President Biden is arguing in this video.
The overwhelming percentage of those tax breaks to people who didn't need it. The top 0.1%. They didn't need it. And it was argued that what it would do is generate this great economic surge and growth. It would increase productivity. It would pay for itself. It would generate a sense of growth in America we hadn't seen ever before. Well, everyone from the Heritage Foundation on has pointed out hadn't done that. Hadn't done that. Now I come along, and the proposals that I'm suggesting are tried and true things like when you rebuild bridges, things get better. When you rebuild highways, when you don't have to, airports, ports, it all matters. It increases productivity. And the programs that relate to people are programs that are the things that also generate economic growth. And I view them as, for example, tax cuts for middle class, upper middle class, and working class people. And so you eliminate a few of the, just have the super wealthy begin to pay their fair share. For example, you have, I think it's 35 or 30 corporations didn't pay a single solitary penny last year in the Fortune 500 companies. They made $400 billion. They paid no taxes. How can that make any sense? Especially since these corporations, and I come from the corporate capital of the world, more corporations are incorporated in my state than all the rest of the country combined. If you notice, corporations aren't investing any money in research and development. Somewhere, what's most of it going to? Buying back their own stock dividends, which makes sense, leaving by some studies less than 10% for research, development, pay raises, etc. Used to be that not too long ago, for example, during the Bush administration, the tax rate for the very wealthy making well over millions of dollars was 39.6%. It's now 37%. Just raised it back to what it was before. It raises enough money from that savings to put every single person in community college who wants to go. Now what's going to grow America more? What's going to help you and your security more?
Providing larger Social Security benefits, for one, and let me know in the comments if you agree. It's not just college, it's larger Social Security benefits among many other things that Democrats want to approve as well. And honestly, the only way to get this done is by increasing taxes on the rich. And as President Biden pointed out, all he wants to do is raise taxes back to what they were back during the Bush administration. Now, I know taxes are really controversial, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But personally, I agree. I think they should raise taxes on the rich at least back to what they were before in order to increase Social Security benefits as well as approve these next two stimulus packages.
The super wealthy having to pay 3.9% less tax, or have an entire generation of Americans having associate degrees. That's why all the economists, even on Wall Street, are pointing out, guess what? It grows the economy. Benefits everybody. Hurts nobody. But now It's talk to the Wall Street Journal, I talk about the welfare program. It's about growth. And so, you know, the idea that it's just amazing. I mean, corporate taxes, they were 36%. Our administration, last administration, said we should lower it. We suggested it be lowered to 28%. Well, it's got lowered to 20%, or 21%. Show me something that's benefited. What's happened? Show me where the growth is.
It's a good point. I mean, since they lowered taxes in 2017, if you're lower income or middle class, do you think those tax cuts really have benefited you? Does it feel that way? I mean, if you have an extra $500 in your bank account at the end of the year, but billionaires and millionaires have millions of extra dollars left over from these tax cuts, I mean, who's really getting the benefit here, guys? And I'm sorry if this comes off as political, but I completely agree with Biden. We need to get this done. And basically, he was addressing Mitch McConnell and saying that his argument is completely ridiculous because they created tax cuts for the rich, which is even worse than providing tax cuts for the middle class. Now, Biden didn't directly say this, but Democrats will be going forward with their stimulus packages using budget reconciliation. So again, Mitch McConnell and Republicans technically will not be able to stop Democrats from doing this. The only thing that can stop Democrats is Democrats themselves if they can't get moderates like Joe Manchin on board to approve these next two stimulus packages. But guys, with that said, we should have a lot of updates in the coming weeks, so don't forget to subscribe. I will keep you updated on the next two stimulus packages, on Social Security changes, and daily news updates as well. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you for supporting my work. Until the next video, take care and have a great day.